DARVO and intimacy anorexia. This is an important term. It's coming into our field. I want you to understand it because it's probably happening if you're living with an intimacy anorexic and you need to have the language for it. So stay tuned. Now listen, there's a comment box. Please write your questions in there. I'd love to hear from you. And there's also a subscribe button. The great thing about that is you can watch all the other videos we've done, but when we come in the studio and we do something new, you'll be alerted, and if it pertains to you, it might just help your life. So please do that. Stay tuned. DARVO and intimacy anorexia. Now this term DARVO, first let me tell you what it means. It's an acronym. It means deny, attack, reverse the victim and offender role. This term comes from the sexual offender place, okay? And these are people who have sexually abused minors. And in that field, they use this term. Well, our fields are somewhat closely related. And so this term is moving into the sexual addiction world. It's moving into the intimacy anorexia world. And mostly ladies are talking about this term because they're researching it and finding it. And it may be that a man's living with a female addict or female intimacy anorexic. This will show up. If you're living with a female intimacy anorexic, this exact routine will show up. Now, understand with intimacy anorexia, and if you're watching this, I think you already know what that means. So if you don't, Google that, watch our YouTubes. The intimacy anorexia, in the Married Alone DVD, we talk about the good box, bad box. Okay, they're in object relationships, and so they have to be good. And if they're not good, they're gonna try to make you be bad, okay, so that they're not feeling so bad. So because of this object relationship, and one of the characteristics of intimacy anorexia is to blame. You know, as I go through that criteria, blame is the second one, okay, blaming you for all the problems in a relationship, you being responsible for the bad, feels very similar to DARVO, deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender. So let me go through this. So if you are trying to give information or confront the intimacy anorexic, hey, you're being anorexic, which that's not the best way to do it. You know, I'm feeling distance, doing the block punch is better. But even if you're saying I'm feeling distance and they get into this, no, I'm not being distance, okay? They might move exactly from that and even not even a breath attack you. You're being critical. I can never do enough. You're the problem. Now in the attack, what's happening is the next phase of DARVO is taking place. They're attacking you and they want you to be so bad that now they're the victim, okay? And if this feels like it's crazy, it's because it is, okay? Now remember, the intimacy anorexic is often very emotionally mature, so taking responsibility is very hard for them, especially when they're flawed, especially when it wasn't their best day or their best choice, okay? And they might even be aware of it, but it's hard for them to take responsibility for that. So let me give you a couple tips. If you see this blaming, this DARVO, this deny, attack, reverse, victim and offender thing happening, and all of a sudden it's like you're the bad person, this is so common in intimacy anorexia, so common, okay? So what you wanna do is first stop talking. They're in an emotional state. If it's a man, they can talk to another man and get help. If it's a woman, they can talk to another woman. The intimacy anorexic needs to talk to someone of the same gender. If you're the spouse, you're most likely an opposite gender. And in that case, you would say, listen, you know, I'm done with this conversation. I think you need to talk to someone else of the same gender, and hopefully that works out for you. Get out of the situation. If they continue to attack you, leave the situation. Another thing you can do is make phone calls, okay? If you're not in a phone group or in a support group for yourself, for Married and Alone, please do. If you're not in our Facebook group, Married and Alone Facebook group, oh, there's thousands of ladies there who can understand and relate to you and connect to you and maybe give you a moment of support or clarity. So you want to step out of that DARVO dynamic. Don't engage it. It's an emotional defense mechanism. If you engage it, it's like a quagmire and you're just going to get eaten alive in there, okay? And no matter what you do, you're going to be the bad person. So get out as soon as you can. Do that. Then get support for yourself, okay? Stay in your own reality. What you're experiencing is most likely what is happening. And if they're early in recovery, it can take 1, 2, 3, 5 days for them to go, oh, you know what? When I did that the other day, when I left you for 4 hours, I really was creating distance with you, okay? Now, the great thing about intimacy anorexia, if they're in a group and they're doing their workbooks and they're making their calls and they're getting more mature, the time in which they can take responsibility gets closer and closer to the event. And when they can do it in real time, we're really having success. But until then, you'll see this D.A.R.V.O process happening. And if you do, take care of yourself, please. Okay, now, if you have a comment, please, I want you to write it in there. Love to hear from you. That's why we do this. And please subscribe for 2 reasons. You can watch all the other videos we produced, and you can be notified so that when we come in the studio and do something for you, it's there and it might just help your life. So please take the next step. And if we can be of service, let us know.